If we see no economic pain and you're not prepared for anything, you're okay. Nothing's wrong because you face no economic pain. If you're prepared, you start preparing for a recession, but we have no economic pain, well, now you have some extra cash put aside, and you can take this cash and you can invest it, or you can take this cash and go to Disney World. Again, nothing bad happens to you. If we see economic pain and you are prepared, now not only do you have the ability to survive through a recession, but you're going to have the ability to thrive through an economic recession. If we have economic pain and you're not prepared, well, now, not only are you not going to be able to thrive and be able to capitalize on opportunities that come your way, but you might have a tough time surviving through it. Why is it that looking back, everybody says you should have bought real estate after the 2008 crash? Why do people say you should have bought dot-com companies after the 2000 dot-com crash? Because most people were not prepared. So, if you prepare and nothing bad happens, well, now you can go to Disney World. If you prepare and something bad happens, well, now you can take advantage of opportunities or potentially go to Disney World if everything is okay. You got to start by stabilizing your income. If you are a commission salesperson, if you're at a company that's on the verge of going bankrupt, if you work for a company where you don't think your position is secure, if you have a business where the income is very shaky, this is where you got to get a little bit more cognizant about how you can stabilize the income that you have. But think about it. Look at other companies in your industry and see what they're doing. If every one of those companies are laying off your department, well, now you got to look into the health of your department by looking into the health of your company. Now, you don't want to panic because even if you go through a recession, the majority of people will keep their jobs. If you look at the 2008 crash, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that Michigan was hit the hardest by the economy, and the highest unemployment rate in Michigan was 8.4% in the 2008 crash. Now, 8.4% employment is the reported number. The real number is probably a little bit higher, but even if you doubled that number, you still have the majority of people, the vast majority of people who have a job, who want a job, who are still employed, who are still getting a paycheck. So what you want to do is just make sure that where you're getting your income from is stable. Now, if you have more of a variable income, you're a commission salesperson, you work for a company where your income goes up and down, this is where you want to be a little bit smarter and understand, one, how much income you can expect over the coming years, and if you're going to be able to continue sustaining your income that you have right now. Look at the mortgage industry. So many mortgage lenders have been getting cut off or just leaving, not because they're being laid off, but because they're not making any more money. They're not able to sell loans. They're not able to refinance mortgages the same way that they could before over the last couple of years. And so you got to take a look at what's going to happen over the next couple of years. If interest rates keep going up, how is that going to affect your industry? How is that going to affect your job? And how is that going to affect your income? It's better to prepare sooner rather than later and think about what you can do to stabilize an income, because the first step to surviving through any sort of economic slowdown is to have an income that will carry you through the economic slowdown. You have a pretty decently sized chunk of America who made more money than ever over the last few years in 2020, 2021, and even 2022 through bonus checks, through commissions, and through extra distributions because their company boomed or because they got these big commission checks from whatever it is that they're doing. Well, many of these performance-based incomes are going to see their incomes dwindle in the coming years because these same companies, the same banks, the same lending institutions, the same salespeople are not going to be able to make the same bonuses and get the same profit distributions as they did previous years because many of these companies are now starting to struggle. I work with a lot of realtors. I work with a lot of lenders. I work with a lot of different salespeople. And what you saw happen, especially when it comes to salespeople, I'm going to be completely real here. Many of these people, when they make more money, they upgrade their lifestyle. It is a very common trend in the salesperson community that when you start making more money, you get a better car, you get a better home, you go on better vacations, you start living a much more inflated lifestyle because you make more money. The problem is that salesperson commission, the salesperson income is not always stable. You go through booms and you go through busts, just like the economy. And if you go through a bust in the economy, guess what? Your income also goes through a bust. And so you saw many salespeople, I know many people in my own circle, in my own community, that saw their incomes boom over the last few years. And along with that, their lifestyles boomed. Bigger homes, nicer cars, better vacations. You have expenses that have skyrocketed over the last few years. But if your income cannot sustain itself, what are you going to do then? This is where you want to play a little bit of damage control right now, be proactive, and understand how much of your income is really sustainable. And what can you do to downsize a little bit right now to protect yourself against whatever might happen. Are there ways for you to cut out some of your expenses that we can put aside some cash? And even if you don't want to cut out expenses, do you have a cash savings buffer? If not, this is where you got to start. You need to put aside some cash. You want to have at the minimum of 3 months of cash put aside to protect you against an emergency. You can have up to a year depending on your risk tolerance, but you want to have at the very bare minimum 3 months worth of expenses put aside in a savings account, not as an investment money, not as a fun spending money, but as emergency money in case something bad were to happen and you no longer have an income, that you still have 3 months worth of cash that you can spend where you wouldn't have to sell anything. You wouldn't have to change anything, where you can work to create another income over those 3 months to rebuild your income, and you have cash to protect yourself. You have to have at least 3 months worth of cash put aside in an emergency account. That way, if something bad were to happen to your income, you can still protect yourself. Now, if your spending is controlled, then you can take this one step further and you can put cash aside, not just to save, to protect you against an emergency, but to invest. This is cash that you're waiting for a good opportunity to take advantage of, where if you see a distressed asset, you can come in and use your cash to buy it, because what happens anytime you see a bigger economic slowdown is credit dries up. It's harder to access cash. Investors become scared. People don't want to put their money out there. So now if you have cash, you can come in and take advantage of opportunities. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.